The local campaign. Let's bring in Liberal MP for the seat of Flinders, which I should point out is my seat, and she is my local member. Zoe McKenzie joins us. Great to see you again.
Hello, dear constituent. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. My letterbox is stuffed full of electioneering brochures, yours and some others. We'll get to that in a moment. Lots of your signs up around the electorate. Any of those, Zoe, been damaged? Any been stolen?
Look, the occasional one has disappeared overnight, strangely, and we do our best to replace them as quickly as possible. A little bit of vandalism here and there, not as much as last time. We had a fairly significant Extinction Rebellion onslaught last time and quite a lot got damaged, but it doesn't appear to be quite as bad this time, so I'm grateful for that.
You haven't had Monique Ryan's husband down there ripping posters down and running off down the street and pretending he didn't know anything about what was happening?
I'm saying we've had a few. Look. Some of the others have been putting them up where they shouldn't, and a bit illegally, and on Vic Road signs and power poles, things they shouldn't be doing. But that's okay. Eventually, they'll get cleaned up. You know, the compliance system catches up with them eventually. But no, nothing like Mr. Ryan, I'm afraid.
It's all pretty nasty. I mean, you've got a Liberal campaign truck apparently allegedly smeared with faeces. Now, warning to viewers, this is pretty disgusting. That's the sort of thing that you know, you just shake your head and wonder why anyone would want to do something like that. I mean, there's vision of it on the screen. I mean, people really need to get a grip, don't they?
Yeah, that is terribly disappointing. Look, it's a vibrant democracy we live in, and I actually love the kind of debate we have. And I've been going around school. I go around schools all the time. You've probably seen it on my Facebook, and talk to kids about the democracy we have and how proud we are of the institutions of the nation and how they need to be protected. So that's a terrible sign. I hadn't seen that today, so I'm sorry if I look quite shocked when you put that up on the screen.
Let's get into some issues. I mean, one of the brochures I got shoved through my letterbox is from an independent guy called Ben Smith, up against you. Says he's a small business owner. Now, if you go online, I note that Mr. Smith has brought up the top spot on Google, and I do note also that he is being funded by Climate 200. Is that right?
Look, indeed. Look, I think he uses that descriptor, small business owner, lightly. He has worked in the social welfare sector down here in Mornington for the last 2 years, and indeed with his church for the past 2 decades. In terms of campaign spend, to be fair, it looks like it fit in line with what the last Teal campaigns were, so somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million. He is the highest spender, though, on Facebook and Instagram, spending about $220,000 last time somebody looked that up, which is basically a deposit on a home on the Mornington Peninsula, but definitely a huge amount of money and nothing like anything we've seen here before. But as I said, a vibrant democracy, and everyone's entitled to campaign as they see fit.
Let's talk about the fuel excise. As someone who commutes regularly from the Mornington Peninsula to Melbourne and back, I know what I can afford it, but I know what the cost of fuel does. The fuel excise cut, that is huge for your electorate. I mean, you know, aside from people like myself, you've got a lot of tradies who live in your electorate. They do huge amounts of kilometres a week. At 7 o'clock every morning, I see ute after ute after ute travelling on the local roads. That's a massive plus. Are you getting around the electorate and having people say to you, thank God someone's looking after us with the cost of fuel?
You've absolutely nailed it. It is hugely popular down here. Our roads are full of Rangers, Hiluxes and Amaroks, and it's about $20 per fill up on one of those cars. So it makes an enormous difference. I had a group of community leaders, about 60 of them today in a room, and they're all volunteers doing amazing work from men's shed to women's shelters and everything in between. And the thing they constantly ask for help with actually is fuel costs. It's really a hindrance on what they're able to do in an area where 83% of our landmass on the peninsula here doesn't have any access to public transport. So cars and utes and trucks really are the way we get around. So it's been wonderfully well received. It makes a real difference. 60% of households down here have 2 or more cars. So for the average household, that's $1,500 worth of savings every year. It makes an enormous difference, and it will be from the first sitting day of Parliament under a Dutton government.
Yeah, I think it's a very sensible policy. I mean, you've done a lot of door knocking, I know. You've covered a lot of territory. When you knock on those doors, how much feedback are you getting about how much the Labor brand is on the nose in Victoria? I mean, We lived through it. We've got a crime crisis, youth crime crisis. That's spread its way down into your seat. We've got crippling property taxes. That's also impacted on a lot of people who live in the area that you are the member for. And on top of that, you can add things like potholed roads. How much anger is there when you knock on someone's door about Labor?
Yeah, look, it's interesting. I'm out and about on our streets all day, every day. So in each little township, I'll be walking around talking to people every day. And you do hear real palpable anger with both the Albanese and the Allen government, whether that's red tape, green tape, a complete failure to understand the demands of small business, an industrial relations system that is unnavigable for them these days, and then tax upon tax upon tax. I had a property and construction and property sector roundtable a couple of weeks ago, and people just said there's just no incentive to build here, no incentive to meet the needs for housing locally, and particularly in relation to affordable housing, because the land tax is just suffocating people down here. And on top of that, you've got suggestions, including from some of the candidates down here, that we should abolish negative gearing and capital gains tax discounts for housing stock. That just sends panic into the system. So we're not building as we need to. And you're right, we're the second highest incidence of tradies in the country. It's a really important industry for us. They need certainty. They need things like the instant asset write-off that we've committed to make at $30,000 level and permanent. Not like this government that's just scrapping at the edges on that particular topic. Those sorts of announcements, together with the excise and fuel, make an enormous difference down here.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was just crazy of Labor not to go the full 30 and make it permanent like the coalition's going to.
Yeah,
you've got the full list of...
Yeah, they don't. They've never run a small business. They've never run a business. It's filled with people who've been public servants and or union officials. So the workings, the inside, the sacrifices made by small business owners are completely an anathema to the Labor Party, I'm afraid. And you can see and feel that down here every day.
Just finally, you've got the full list against you. You've got a Greens candidate, a Labor candidate, a One Nation candidate, a Trumpets, whatever they are, candidate, and the Independent. How close is this contest going to be?
Look, it's a vibrant democracy, and I welcome, actually, the full slate of candidates. I think it's good that we flesh out the issues. It's one of those electorates, and you know, Steve, because you're here, people read the newspaper, they listen to the radio, they watch the news at night, they're really informed. It's a real difference, I think, from 3 years ago. People are coming to me and telling me exactly, you know, what they think, where they think the economy is going, and they're desperate to get the country back on track, whether that's from the construction industry to the community leaders that I was with today. All of them are desperate for change. So it's almost a uniform view that this government has done a terrible job, both in relation to security and prosperity, and they want to see somebody step up and get the country back on track.
Good to catch up with you, Zoe. Thanks a lot. Good luck during the campaign. We've got 4 weeks to go.